Court is calling 2022 CR 10886, State of Texas versus Thomas Glenn Marsh. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Warren Wolf for Mr. Marsh.
Are you Thomas Marsh?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Marsh, you entered a plea of guilty on March 29th to the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 4 years in the prison. There are no applications for deferred, and the state is opposing your application for community supervision. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, Judge.
Defense?
No.
State, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, Mr. Marsh would like to address the court.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up. If you could state your name for the record, please.
Thomas Marsh.
All right, defense.
Mr. Marsh, you had a chance to review the pre-sentence report,
Yes, sir.
and the question is, why should Judge Boyd trust you to be on probation and community supervision on this case, considering the fact that you've had some prior issues with probation? Could you tell the judge a little bit more about yourself, about why you think you could be successful on probation now?
I believe I could be successful on probation because it would put me like face to face with whatever temptations I may have, and they'll fight on me in my face like that. And I've completed probation before in the past, and it kept me more in line and on top of things. I do have 2 jobs out there waiting for me to return.
Where are those jobs?
It's a place called Happy Day Cafe. It's a little place in Live Oak. And at Dog Stars, it's at a dog groomer. It's in University City right up the street. I reside with my significant other for 23 years. He's sober, completely sober. All of my using came from really, I guess, traumatic things. Like the first time I was with watching my grandfather go through chemo and everything, and that's when I learned that this left stuff.
And what year was that?
That was when he died. It was in 2012.
Okay.
And so then the next time is when my grandmother, I was watching my grandmother die. And that's when it was, I guess, a relapse, you would call it, because in between all of that, I didn't really use. And so I think I'd be successful because, I mean, I'm not planning on losing anybody else. I've already discontinued the use of the methamphetamine like before the new year started. Like this.
Did you know that the Tapavell suggests to the court that you do an inpatient treatment with follow-up afterwards? You want to do that?
If I must, I'd rather not be, or can we not have that protocol?
Well, that's up to the judge. But that's the recommendation from the Tapavell. So if that's what that stands between you and going to prison, are you willing to do that?
Does that have to do with me right now?
Oh, yeah. You're on examination. Here's the thing. If you don't want to go to inpatient treatment, just let the court know.
Just due to health conditions and not knowing what.
Oh, here's the thing. The answer to that is either yes or no. And you know what? I don't see anybody who's not being sober and using drugs telling people, hey, let me make sure that before I use any of your drugs, that you're putting the right things in it, and that people, please wear your mask because COVID is an issue before I take your drugs and use them. Nobody's concerned about COVID when they're doing the puff, puff, pass. Nobody's concerned about COVID when they're taking a needle from somebody. I don't hear anybody saying that. So now when it's time for treatment and the hard work, people are saying, I'm concerned about health conditions. So when you were using, did you ask anybody if they had COVID?
But I didn't.
No, that's my question for you. When you were using drugs, did you ask anybody, before I take drugs from you, do you have COVID? Have you been following COVID protocols? Did you ever ask them that? But now when it comes time to potentially you going to treatment, your concern is about COVID.
I'm just concerned about being housed around a whole bunch.
Okay. No, I understand. Is there anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to find you guilty, sentence you to 4 years in the prison. Take in consideration NIMAG number 701585, give you credit for any time served. If you wish, the court can have you placed in the therapeutic community, at least a recommendation for that. Would you like that?
Therapeutic community.
Yes. It doesn't increase your time that you're in the prison, but there's a potential for you to be placed in that program to help you with your drug issues.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, but you must request it. So I'm going to say therapeutic community. And I want you to know, I listened to what you were saying, but I also looked at your criminal history, and you've been given probation for drug cases and for DWIs for several times. All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. How old are you?
45.
All right, you're 45. How old is your partner?
It was 61.
All right, so you are like me. You're close to being in the twilight of your life. You're going to have to make a decision on what you're going to do with your rest of your life. Either you're going to be in and out of prisons and in and out of jail. You're going to get to the point where you're going to be considered a habitual. And what that means is when you're considered a habitual offender for some felonies, if you're convicted, your minimum is 25 years prison. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you. 06, State of Texas versus Lupe Martinez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Bernard camping for Mr. Martinez, and I don't think it'll be a problem, Your Honor. Mr. Martinez is very hard of hearing. His right ear is pretty good. We'll
right.
get through it.
All right, I will speak up. Mr. Martinez, if at any time you can't understand me or hear me, just let me know. All right, counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I have. We have.
All right, court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Martinez, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? Showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are not, Your Honor. We would like to proceed on the lesser included offense of DWI second, Judge.
Any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Martinez, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Just one moment. Did you understand that the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of driving while intoxicated second? That's a Class A misdemeanor. The range of punishment is up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Did you understand? It's one in attachments. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Very briefly, Mr. Martinez and his wife are both in their 70s, and as you can see, the only priors that this man has are literally 50 years old. One was 1973, the other one was 1976. And there was nothing aggravating about those. On this particular circumstance, he was very cooperative with the police. The level the alcohol level was a 0.09, and there was no accident or anything like that.
Mhm.
His wife has been diagnosed with cancer. She had her stomach removed. She's undergoing both radiation and chemotherapy, and he's been basically taking care of her and getting her to and from doctor's appointments. So in terms of his ability to do community service, he will obviously do whatever the court orders. His situation, both physically himself and in taking care of his wife, is kind of limits him in that regard. Obviously the fine would be a tremendous hardship to him, and we appreciate the court's consideration in that regard. Finally, Your Honor, I think the state is recommending to the court the 3 days as a condition as some statutory requirement. It's a situation where we would hope the court would perhaps structure some alternative, be it maybe holding it in abeyance or a monitor or something that would allow him to at least maintain the home life and care for his wife that he is undertaking at this time, rather than that interruption. So if there was some combination of conditions that would suffice for those 3 days, it would be greatly appreciated.
All right, Mr. Martinez, are you employed or are you retired?
I'm retired.
Okay. All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court will find you guilty, sentence you to a $2,000 fine that would be probated, 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, suspended and probated for 2 years, DWI intervention, AA or NA meetings 2 times per week, 2-year Texas driver's license suspension, TAP evaluation. If the TAP evaluation recommends outpatient treatment, will begin with, recommends inpatient treatment, we'll begin with outpatient treatment to start with, 3 days in the Bexar County Jail, or you can do 6 days full GPS. And those 3 days in the Bexar County Jail, if you choose that, that will need to be done by, or you'll need to report by, let me pull out the calendar. You'll need to report by September 1st.
And the GPS, would that be coordinated through probation?
Yes. So he can either do 6 days GPS, full GPS, or he can do 3 days in the Bexar County Jail. If he chooses 3 days in the Bexar County Jail, he'll need to report to the jail by September 1st. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular UAs. And Ms. Abrams, they're asking for the alcohol patch.
I meant to ask him about that. I don't see that as being necessary. He's not drinking at all. He's been going to AA. Since this happened, he's been to over 100 AA meetings.
So what type of monitoring device is he currently on?
He's on the ignition interlock
Okay.
and has with no violation.
All right. Well, he is to remain on ignition interlock. Probation, I'm sorry, state, are you okay with him remaining on the ignition interlock?
Yes, Judge, and I guess if it's, he's gonna have his license suspended, is the probation feels the portable monitor is more appropriate?
Unless his attorney is going to ask for
At
a
some
license
point,
for medical care.
We're going to try to get an occupational medical
All right.
care at some point.
So we'll do regular UAs. Make sure he's tested for alcohol. Or you can do the patch. All right. And with regards to the community service hours, probation, I'm not going to enact community service hours. Those will be waived once he provides proof of his wife's medical condition.
I have some with me today. Thank you.
All right, so 200 hours community service restitution waived upon proof of wife's medical condition. And probation, if you can just do 1 field visit. And if everything appears to be okay, then you can discontinue the field visits. Is there anything else he needs?
You did mention the ignition interlock. How long are you wanting that?
Thank you. There's going to be ignition interlock for, let me see what they agreed to. We're just going to do ignition interlock until further notice. Counsel, if you wish to have the ignition interlock for the court to consider remove it, do not approach until it's at least half the term. All right.
And I know you said DWI intervention, want to do that penalty.
Yes.
And proof of SI or
He's retired.
proof of retirement.
Yes, if you have any documentation that shows that you're retired, just provide proof of that to probation.
I don't have, we can.
Oh, no. You can do it at any time.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else? All right, Mr. Martinez, is there anything else you need from the court? All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yeah.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. I really appreciate that. This is what you need to remember. I understand that sometimes when you get a certain age in life and you've contributed to society, you worked, you retired, sometimes your enjoyment is, I just want to watch television, I want to drink a beer, maybe I want to throw something on the barbecue. But because you're on probation, you're not allowed to drink alcohol at all. You cannot drink alcohol in your home. If you're at a barbecue and somebody wants to give you alcohol, you cannot drink it. You understand? All right. Is there anything else?
No.
Good luck to you. Don't drink and drive because so many bad things can happen. You can end up killing somebody. Usually what ends up happening, I found, and I haven't done a study on this, and my statistics professor would be very upset with me for saying this without doing a study. But what I've discovered is people who are intoxicated in their driving, it could be the worst accident you see. You know who ends up surviving? The intoxicated driver. They're killing the soccer mom. They're killing their passenger or severely injuring their passenger. Just don't drink and drive. You understand? All right. Good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.